Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Last week we cited Afghanistan, and by default, the Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan, the IEA, which was unable to justify their demonstrated hostility against Pakistan from a sociological, that is Pashtun Islamic Hamiyat or fraternity, or good neighborly behavior standpoints. Afghanistan is in basic violation of the central tenet of Pashtun, that is Shekara, which means doing good to others and returning good with good. Given the massive humanitarian, economic, political, military, and diplomatic support in the form of Shekara that Pakistan has rendered to Kabul for 4 decades. And that assistance in some form even continues to this point, to this day. The agreement between two sides after the brief skirmish, effective October 9, 2025, basically spanned, it is not reported as a written agreement, it was a verbal agreement in Doha, the first agreement, which actually called for the immediate and permanent ceasefire, end to the cross-border terrorism, and mechanism that is to be established to verify the ceasefire, or more precisely the intrusion or the infiltration of terrorists from the Afghan soil and the use of the Afghan soil against Pakistan in particular. Now, for that, the second round was inconclusive in Istanbul, and it is going to be continued on the 6th of November 2025 in Istanbul again, and hopefully we will reach an agreement. There are certain points that I want to highlight vis-a-vis Afghanistan, which has basically changed the geostrategic outlook of the area, particularly between Afghanistan and Pakistan. For a very long time, our analysts have considered Afghanistan indispensable to Pakistan's geostrategic and economic interest. This needs a fresh look. The only perhaps binding factor between the two sides is the Pashtun ethnicity and the common geography, and I'll come to that in a little while. The second notion of strategic depth is also archaic and old now, and this is also needs to be buried for good. Its less patronizing version that I used in my writing was the strategic dividend. Once IEA ascended to power in Kabul, I actually would call it the accrual of strategic dividend to Pakistan, but that is also no more. The notion of strategic dividend in empowering IEA was indispensable for Pakistan's security calculus in order to avoid a two-front war simultaneously with India and Afghanistan, if the situation so arises. That is also now outdated and overtaken by events. Much that a war with Afghanistan should be avoided. I must say that Pakistan's military is capable of fighting 1.5 front war, Afghanistan being half front. The stable and resolute leadership of the military, civil and military leadership of Pakistan, our professional military, the demonstrated performance of the military against India in May this year, and the nuclear triad that Pakistan possesses, they basically augment Pakistan's clout, relevance, and influence. Although overconfidence, bluster, and hyperbole can cause overstretch and should be avoided at all costs. In today's geostrategic calculus, Afghanistan only becomes relevant to Pakistan's because of A, common Pashtun ethnicity, B, inseparable geography, C, the need for a humanitarian support to Afghanistan, Afghanistan's struggling humanity, D, because of the Afghan-based terrorism, E, to counter the hostile Indian influence in the area. If you leave a vacuum in Afghanistan, India is for sure going to fill that vacuum, and we saw an example of this time when it was not for Hubbi Ali, but for Bogz Muawiyah that India basically wanted to rope in Afghanistan in its erstwhile area of influence. The second notion that Afghanistan's proximity as a gateway to Central Asia, the riches, is also challengeable, given the actual trade potential of Central Asian republics through Kabul. I think the cumulative trade potential of the Central Asian republics, well, the exact figures are not given anywhere, is not more than $5-6 billion, and the cost that you pay for that is much higher. I covered the details of Central Asian trade with Pakistan in my piece, which was published in the Express Tribune on the 20th of February this year, and was titled The Myth of Central Asian Trade Potential. Now, let's go for a brief situational recap vis-a-vis Afghanistan. From lack of UN recognition to Pakistan to Pashtunistan bogey to general hostility and to claims of civilizational superiority and territorial claims, Kabul has remained at odds with Raj's legacy state Pakistan, except for some brief interlude under King Zahir Shah. Afghanistan is the lethal parleys with India, as I mentioned. Foreign Minister Muttaqi's statement in Kashmir while he was in statement on Kashmir while he was in India, and Islamic Emirates statement on recent standoff in Pakistan with TLP, Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan, enunciating the TLP protest for the democratic rights. They basically undermine a stable bilateral framework. The last one is also captured in a Pashto proverb where we say the Ghalbel, which is a sieve or a colander, accuses Kuza, a water container with two holes, of having two holes, forgetting its own many holes. So it's a little comical, Afghanistan telling us these things. The scorecard between Afghanistan and Pakistan is very, very alarming to this point in time. Afghanistan's IEA runs or facilitates or tolerates the operations of over 60 anti-Pakistan training camps in Kunard and Greater Paktia, shielding training of TTP and BLA terrorists. BLA fighters in good numbers enter Balochistan from Zabul, Wardak, Kandahar and Helmand, beside a trickle from Loya Paktia. Infiltration from the cited provinces other than Loya Paktia under Haqqanis, they allude to the mentioned complicity of IEA in fostering anti-Pakistan terror. Nur Wali Masood, the TTP chief, reportedly receives up to $43,000 monthly in funding from the Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan, in addition to sophisticated arms, ammunition, and equipment that was abandoned by America at the time of the withdrawal in 2021. Afghan signature in the recent TTP-blamed attacks is also significantly higher, with more than 200 Afghans nationals killed, including the son of the deputy governor of the Badghis province in Afghanistan, Mullah Ghulam Muhammad, early this year. And the Tashkil, that is the teaming for terrorism, is not restricted to Haqqani's controlled Loya Paktia, which include the provinces of Khost, Paktia, Paktika, and to some extent Nangarhar. Now Afghans from Kandahar, Zabul, Wardak, and other provinces are also increasingly becoming part of the anti-Pakistan terrorism, reinforcing the perception of complicity by the elements other than TTP. This thin veneer of plausible deniability by IEA and its rhetorical blaming of Islamabad for ISKP-based violence against Kabul have increasingly no takers in today's world. Well, if we put it together, Pakistan's patience understandably has run out. And because of the patience running out, Pakistan has done two major policy calibrations with Afghanistan. Number one, Pakistan has announced that it will hit at the terrorist networks inside Afghanistan, and under the change policy framework, Pakistan is gravitating more profoundly towards the idea of an inclusive, representative, and pluralistic government in Kabul, supporting a peaceful Afghanistan without gender apartheid, terror sponsorship, human rights violation, non-recognition, and perpetual hostility. This, when combined with the prevalent sentiment amongst the diplomatic corps in Islamabad and elsewhere, points towards a possible regime change if IEA does not relent. The US approach of treating Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan with international exclusion and as a pariah state seems to be more entrenched vis-a-vis the Russian and the Chinese approach, both of whom opt for limited if careful engagement with Kabul. The Islamabad change of heart has profound implications, and I will discuss those in my next vlog. Thank you for watching. Please share and like.